can join here. All right, I'll be good to go. So we're about 7 now. Yes, all right. Yeah, please switch on your cameras. That way, the mentors and the moderators know that you are sincere in your attempt. Because even if some of the calls that the mentors are getting, if you are not sincere in the attempt to commit, all the questions you are asking doesn't make sense. If you don't do practical aspect of the session and you come back and ask questions to mentors, it's only going to look like you're just listening about it or learning about it. You will not get any benefit of this. All right. Once again, thanks to all the mentors and the moderators, Savita madam today. Thank you very much. And let's get started though. Day 4. Today is day 4, right? To day 3 we completed yesterday. Someone was asking in the chat. It's day 4 today. We're going to talk about karmic aspect of it, the repetitive patterns and the karmic breakdown, right? Once again, welcome back, everyone. Over the last 3 days, what we have learned, right? We have explored the identity, we spoke about identification, and we talked about emotion, right? Today, what we will talk about is the most misunderstood concept called karma. Most of the people misunderstand karma. The first and foremost thing when we say karma comes to mind is, hey, it is a kind of a punishment. It is a kind of a problem. It is kind of a thing that I go through all the time. I don't know what to do, right? But when you look at the grand masters, when you look at beautiful, scriptures that talk about the karma, it talks about a repetitive attempt that we are doing again and again. That is what is karma. And it is not a punishment. Karma is not a punishment. We'll talk about the definition of it, but I want to take a little more deeper today on the conversation, right? It is not that you are trying to come out of the karma. What you are trying to do with karma is an opportunity for all of us to learn. There has to be learning that has to come as part of karma. Anything that comes in your life repetitively, that becomes a pattern, potentially is a karmic debt, right? So what is karma? Karma is basically an unconscious reaction. It is repeating itself. Unconscious reaction that is repeating itself is karma. In my life, something is happening again and again, again and again, again and again, and I keep ignoring it. And it comes back again and again. And the intensity keeps going up, going up, going up. That is recognized as karma. It is the combination, right? Karma is a combination. If I go into a deeper state, how do I put this in perspective of my physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual state? Is ideally, it is your action plus your memory and the reaction. That is karma. So what we do is we try to either ignore it or we try to avoid it, totally not try to be there, right? We just avoid it, or we try to suppress the karmic lessons, right? But one thing what we should do to relieve the karma is you should accept and learn and grow out of it. Every experience in our life leaves an impression. Every impression. What is that impression? That impression is nothing but samskara. We call that samskara. And whenever there is an unresolved impression in our lives, it creates a pattern, right? That is the cycle of karma. That's the cycle of pattern that it creates is what constitutes a karma. First of all, let us drop the idea that karma is punishment, right? We have to understand karma is there for only our growth. It is coming to us only for us to learn. to make a better version of us. That is the whole and sole purpose of karma. There is nothing else. If I am not ready to accept this basic fact, what the law of karma is talking about, then there is no growth, there is no development, there is absolutely no new version of me. Right? So every time we try to look at karma, don't try to bend it, don't try to avoid it, don't try to, run away or hide or, in most cases, suppress it. Try to face it. Try to have a word with your karma. Just be bold to stand in front of the karma and say, okay, what's going on? What am I here? What is this trying to tell me? Then you will start to hear what and why it is there for you. The most important. So again, I'm not going to talk about, today's session is not about talk about types of karma, agami karma, sanchita karma, prarabdha karma, and how prarabdha becomes agami and how agami comes back as sanchita, that we can all talk some other time. But this is a practical session. We're going to talk about the patterns as to what is making this karmic activity come again and again in our life, right? So if I try to put a cycle of karma, if I try to understand how the cycle of karma works, you get an experience. From that experience, you have a corresponding reaction, right? From that reaction, in that very moment, you actually create a memory part that goes into the memory, right? And that process becomes a pattern. It becomes a pattern as a repetition. That is what is called cycle of karma. And most of the times, if you really take a pause in your life, you start to look at it, you will recognize that certain patterns, certain actions or activities on our life are repeating again and again, again and again. You have to be conscious to watch it. Right? I'll give example. Some types of relationship conflicts. You have conflict in relationship. It continues to happen again and again, again and again, again and again on the same factor. The situations differ, the person won't differ. And the kind of conflict that you have is repeating again and again, same conflict. That is a relationship level, karmic balance, depth, right? Failure. You try to do this, it won't work. You try to do this, it won't work. Whatever that activity that you're trying to do, repeatedly, it is happening to you again and again, again and again. You have to realize that it's a self belief. Your belief system has gotten to a point where you yourself are lost in that. That can be a potential karma. Emotional triggering aspects of it. All the inner resolved conflicts that you have, the chaotic activity that the mind and the emotions carry towards life, they can be karmic as well. Right? What our life does not repeat. If you really look at it, the life flows in the present moment all the time. Life is happening to all of us. Every one of us are living the life, right? My life is going on and on and on. It is not repeating. What is repeating is that our unconscious patterns, what we created to ourselves, that cycle keeps repeating again and again, and hence you feel like this life has become a mechanical life. I don't see a value of my life. Why? Because everything, the patterns are repeating again and again. So what we are going to do is we're going to try to divide them together. We're going to take a break and then say, okay, what karma really means? What happens when an event happens, right? Let's just delve into the little deeper aspect of it, trying to understand how to unwind this mystery. Again, with the real life examples and some practical exercises. What happens in a very simplistic way? What happens when a particular event happens, when a particular incident happens to us? It is very common that we react unconsciously, right? When we react unconsciously, in that moment, a a neural imprint forms within the system, right? A imprint happens. When the same triggering appears, right, again and again, again and again, again and again, we will be reacting in the same way again and again, again and again, again and again, again and again. So when that happens repetitively for some time, that is what we call personality. The repetition of what we are doing again and again becomes our personality. And when it becomes our personality, that becomes your destiny. So if we try to put a perspective, okay, what karma really means is karma is memory in motion. Whatever I have, I am doing the same thing, I am repeating it. I have it, doing it, repeating it. Have it, doing it, repeating it. This process is happening like infinite. Is there any end to this? There is end to it if you recognize it. If you don't recognize it, this is going to go on for some time. Right? Let's put some examples, right? Let's put some life examples in there, right? You are not heard by your partner all the time. No matter how much you feel like you are, hey, I want you to do this, your partner ignores you. They never hear you. We are, emotionally we are attracting, unlike energies. In your gut, you want very positive activity to happen, but your mind and emotion is likely attracting the negative energies all the time. At some examples, like work is a classic example, right? You repeatedly feel yourself that you are not appreciated at work. You have done a fabulous job. You have really conquered, lot of kudos for the effort that you have put in a project or a task or whatever you're trying to do, and you are not recognized or you're not appreciated at all. Or it can be a simplistic, you're watching TV and you saw something in there and then you overreact to a particular criticism or a particular statement, you just burst it out. So the question that we all have to ask, please write it down, put it on your paper and pen and write it down. What patterns repeats in our lives? In each of your lives, what pattern repeats? Reflect on it for a minute or two. Just pause it, reset it, and then see what pattern is repeating. Just write it down, pen it down. So the neuroscience talks about the familiarity. We were talking about it the other day too, right? Our brain is tuned in such a way that it prefers to have a familiar pain over an unfamiliar peace. Whatever the peace that you refer to, whatever the happiness you talk about, whatever the suffering less, I don't know about it, right? So our brain always prefers us to go into the familiar space because familiar patterns feel very predictable. It's very simple. So why predictability feels very safe? I'm in the boundary, I'm in the box, I'm in the comfort zone. That is how the brain is tuned. The beauty here is even though the brain knows and understands that predictability, that familiar path is a pain, still it goes towards that. Even that pattern, what you're creating is causing suffering, still it prefers it. That is how the brain is tuned. So what we are trying to do is, we're not trying to understand, okay, this is what karma means. We are trying to understand what is that one, two things that are happening repeatedly in our life. No matter which way you look at it, you are not able to let go. Once you recognize that, yes, there is a pattern formation here, then there is a possibility to see what you need to do to come out of it. This always happens to me, right? Life is so unfair. These are all illusions that we create based upon the karmic patterns that we have. The trigger, a trigger comes my way, I have an emotion to that, I have a reaction supporting it, I feel a little bit of a relief after the reaction, then a reinforcement comes in play. This goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And I don't have a way to come out of it. So at some point, you will start to ignore it, or this becomes so mechanical in our system that you don't even have the energies to recognize it. Whatever was happening at the physical level now is happening at the subtle level. It's still happening because the effect is still there within me, right? I'm not able to just accept that fact yet. Like we were talking about other day, somebody texts you, they don't text you back. You will have a little bit of an anxiety. Okay, what might have happened? A story comes in, or a label, or some kind of a thing, right? Then you send two more texts. Hey, you're ignoring me. Hey, you're not coming to me. You just put your things right out there. Tung, 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 tung. One text started with four texts happened. Then immediately you release, hey, I should have not done that. All this is happening in the 30-second thing. Then you'll say, it's okay, I did it, anyway. The temporary relief comes. Control this, okay, I should have, okay. And then the reinforcement starts. Is a little bit later, you will start to recognize when the way he responds, he says, oh, buddy, I was going through something, or he throws a victim card and you say, oh, I should have not done that. Why did I do that? Why did I hurry sending, multiple texts, right? The reinforcement start, the pattern deepens. You go into that infinite loop thing. Whenever we go into that loop, that's when it goes into our memory again and again. So the memory in motion, always remember whatever has happened in the past, that is coming into the present, and this repetition, this process is repeating again and again. That is karma. So if you look at it like the way you were writing earlier, what is that one pattern that keeps repeating in my life? Very important. I always argue with my partner. No, that's not it. That happens all the time to everyone. Right? Fear of rejection, fear, overthinking, lack of confidence, not able to bring things together, unable to come out of a past traumatic situation. You are stuck in the event, you are stuck in your own unidentified personality. There can be so many of such things that might be inherently happening in our life, right? Let us bring them together, right? And see, okay, here's my top one thing that this pattern keeps repeating in my life. Now, let's go one step further on that. Okay. When did this start? Approximately. Write it down. When did this start? and then see, write it down, put a timeline to this. This introspection is such a beautiful thing that it puts right in front of that issue for you, and then you will see that issue is not an issue at all. We are perceiving that as an issue. Our perception, our false perception is making it a reality. But in fact, when you face it, you will know it has no face at all. Then write down, how do I react each time when that pattern comes in front of me? How do I react each time? Write it down. You may be conflicting it, you may be shouting out of it, you may be running away from it, you may be feeling afraid, fear. You probably have a little bit of worry. What is that common emotion in that, right? What is the emotion that is common? Let's write down what emotion is common, right? Let's put it that way. What emotion is common? How it is kind of, how you are taking that in your emotion. So how that is happening, and then now you also put how you react to it. Whenever it comes to you, how do you react? How do I react to this particular pattern? It's very important to recognize that there is a pattern here, right? Now, let me put this question out there for you. Okay, now that you have seen the trigger, you have seen the emotional aspect of it, you've understood the triggering mechanism as to how that is happening and how the pattern comes in front of you, how do you feel it, and how the emotion goes into that, all that, right? Now, ask this simple question. Last 3 days, you have been practicing this awareness formula. What would awareness do differently? Does it have any role here? If I bring my awareness into that situation while that is happening, is there a possibility before emotion, before reaction? Just think about it. Okay, I brought my awareness into the mix of it. So it's like, hey, like the way you would want to look at it is, so far we said, whatever is happening in the emotional space, the mental space, the physical space, your awareness is watching all that. You're the witness of it, right? If I'm trying to bring that same witness into this situation, how would this look like? Is this happening to you? Number one. How do you separate? What is that separation that needs to happen here in this whole exercise? Think through it. Why is this whole triggering mechanism happening again and again? Why is that this is a karmic bond for you? Because it is creating a pattern, right? If I can establish to myself that this pattern, whatever is happening, is separate from me, then you will not have this mechanism, right? This is not happening to you because of awareness. If I am aware in that moment, This is not happening to me because it's happening to everything else. And this is happening through a pattern. That's why we are saying, because it became a pattern, it became a karmic debt. Right? So now, if you separate from that pattern, will this happen? Just put your thumbs up if you are agree to it. Yes, absolutely. It is the lack of awareness that is taking you into this repetitive aspect of the pattern. The moment you start to bring your awareness into the mix of it, you will quickly realize that whatever this drama is happening, it's happening because of that pattern. Now, what you do is, how do you try to come out of it? When you separate yourself from that, it no longer has any power to keep coming back to you. Right? Whenever the awareness comes in play, you are building that conscious interruption to the pattern. That pattern can no longer exist. Isn't it? The moment you bring your awareness into the mix of it, that pattern won't be there because you're interrupting the pattern with your awareness. When the awareness comes in the play, it breaks it. That's why awareness not only works at an emotional, mental, it can be at a time active for so many different things that happens in our lives, not just one thing. It takes care of the entire system in one shot. That's the beauty of it. Now, what we'll do a quick practical session, right? Practical exercise through meditation. How do we relive without reaction? Okay, let's try to, whatever we have now, whatever we brought in now, we'll try to visualize and see how we can come out of it, right? By observation, how do we shift it? Okay, please take off your glasses. I'm gonna let you keep your eyes closed, and then we'll just do a couple more as well, right? I'll just give you the scenario, and then you start observing it. I'll just walk you through as guided meditation, right? It's a guided practice, just taking you into that phase, and then having you to observe it, and how do you see it. We'll do all that. So close your eyes. Just bring your attention to your breath, very gradually, very gently. Start observing your breath. When you're observing your breath, remember, don't force breathing. Just let the natural breath happen. Now, when you are settling into it, remember, you're very relaxed. You're not forcing the body to do something, or mind, right? I do nothing, I want nothing, and I am nothing. Very simple. Just let it go. Everything, let it go right now. Just you are empty. You're nobody right now. In this phase, as you settle in, slowly bring your repeating pattern into your awareness. Whatever has been the pattern that you have written earlier, just, or whatever you want to bring in, a repeated pattern into your awareness. Visualize a recent situation that you have gone through. See how it unfolded for you. Just quickly see how it unfolded for you. So when you are seeing as it's unfolding, just observe your reaction to it. How is that you are seeing it How is that? What reaction you have while it is happening to you? There will be some kind of a motion that goes on, conflict. Your mind may be saying, no, you should not forgive. Emotion may be coming saying that, no, 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 this is what's going on. Right? Whatever it is, just process it. Look at your reaction. As you keep this on, let's now, this time, come back to your state of witness. Observe. Just come back to that observing state. Do not react. Do not judge. Just come back to your. It's like you're just watching a movie. You become the observer. You're not the character anymore. You're seeing this whole pattern from a distance. So I want you to ask this question to yourself while you are observing, while you are a witness. If you don't react, does that pattern continue? You will start to realize very quickly that anything, for it to become a pattern, right? The pattern needs reaction to survive. The moment you become the observer, pattern cannot survive. Now, in this state, let us try to break the pattern, right? Keep looking at this pattern as observer. Keep looking at it. You bring your, when you are reacting, when you were reacting earlier, how would you respond instead of reaction? Instead of reacting, if I respond, how would you do that? Like example, instead of anger, I would choose to be silent. Instead of fear, I would become aware. Instead of blaming, I would become an observer of the situation. See yourself, visualize yourself responding differently to that reactive state. Just because it, so now we are getting into the pace where you are breaking the pattern. That reaction is now shifting to respond. And when you are responding, you are visualizing how you would respond. The moment you bring that response into the mix and you start to visualize, the shift is happening. You're breaking that karmic pattern. How do you feel? You feel lighter? You feel relieved? You feel free. You are getting empowered. How do you feel? Try to capture that moment. Five seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Slowly come out whenever you're ready. If you have felt that you are free, you are relieved, you are relaxed, whatever may be that response that came your way in this exercise, you basically broke your pattern of karma. Right here, it just happened. Unconscious reaction strengthens karma. The outcome of this exercise was to give you that life experience. That unconscious reaction strengthens your karma. Conscious observation dissolves your karma. So when I create that gap is where the choice appears. React, respond. Awareness creates that gap. When I create that gap, I start to see, now what do I do? Your boss sends you or you get a nasty email. Instead of reacting and spontaneously responding it, be aware. Take a in that gap, right? Just take 2 or 3 conscious breaths. You would not react. You would coolly respond back. In that very moment, you broke the pattern. It would have been a tit for tat war. Who knows, right? If you have reacted, since you chose consciously with awareness and you responded it, you broke the chain of potential conflict. Everything is like this. Everything in our life is on these lines. That's why it's very important to start to recognize that when I bring awareness into the mix of what I am trying to do, you are able to break that cycle of whatever it is. Right? If before an argument I became aware of my body or I observe my tension in my body, right? I don't go back arguing, right? I'll just calm down myself. Whatever that pause that you are taking, that pause is weakening that karmic cycle. It is weakening that pattern repetition. That is most important. So now let's talk about how do I release this, how do I dissolve this karma, right? Whatever we just did now, if you have experienced like lightness and some of that, that is your response to that pattern, and the pattern broke immediately. So how do I continue it and how do I end it, right? If I am reacting to a karma, it continues. If I resist a karma, it continues. If I identification, right, it continues. It patternizes itself and it goes on. So how do I take it out then? Like we just did in the practice, awareness will end the karmic cycle. Acceptance will end it. Non-reaction, a conscious response. In this case, instead of trying to send that, reactive email, I chose to calm down, be aware, and just responded to it. I broke the potential. So always remember that the most powerful truth for karma is not in the situation. It is not in the situation. Whatever the situation may be, the karma is not in that situation. Karma is in the reaction, your reaction to the situation. That's the most important thing. How you are reacting to that situation is where the karma comes. Situations come and go, provided how you are looking at it is where it is kind of pulling you down, right? I see, if a pattern is getting created for me, I cannot go and stop a pattern mid reaction, right? That reaction I am going in between, I cannot stop myself and do it, right? It just happens. How do I interrupt my pattern is only through awareness. When I bring my awareness into the picture, I break that pattern. It is very, very important to realize that breaking the pattern is the most important way. So, the more and more we start to recognize that there is a pattern, there is some things are repeatedly happening in my life, some things I have to start to bring into my conscious awareness or conscious, you know, living, you will start to quickly understand that, okay, here are the 5 things that are making me go through what I am going through, and then you start to break those things. If I am living, that is the difference between a conscious living and an unconscious living. Conscious living is, exactly how your life is going on every day, say every single day. Here are the things that are coming to you, here are the things that are not coming to you. What things are becoming a pattern, you are the only one you can recognize. None can help you on that. Absolutely zero. Please remember this. There is no one besides you who can tell what constitutes a karmic bond for you. I mean, if there is a bigger thing, there is a lot of repetitive activity, there is much higher level, yeah, absolutely. You can go sit and talk about it, they can probably guide you in that process. But for most of it, all the subtler things that are happening in your life, daily life, only you can start to recognize it. See if you are able to break that pattern with your awareness, or with your response, or with acceptance. I got to move on, accept it, and move on, right? So, the more and more you start to look at it, right? How did I discover this pattern, right? What pattern did I discover today is the most important. You have to reflect on it. You have to integrate yourself to make this as a practice in our daily lives. Whatever the exercises that you are doing here, when you are going home, I'm kind of trusting that you are doing a journal daily, trying to recognize those things. That way, by the end of this 11th day, you have a very powerful list to work with. Either you have already completed and you have come out of it, or you know exactly what you need to do, right? So, what pattern did I discover? What reaction keeps it alive? Very important, because that's where the karma is. And what is your response? The new response. Can you choose to dissolve it? That's important too. Because if I recognized a pattern, I know I'm reacting to this pattern this way. Now, this is my new response, means you're breaking the pattern. You're no longer in the karmic bond. You've just released. It doesn't matter whether the karmic bond is 20-year-old, 30-year-old childhood thing, 50. Time has no sense, and however depth you have, it doesn't really make any difference. The moment you start responding it, you're weakening the process, and eventually you dissolve it. The moment, please write it down, the moment you become aware, the cycle of karma begins to break. It has to break. Awareness is the key there. And the way you want to, in your home, when you're practicing it, right? Whenever something is repeating for you, ask the question, ask yourself that question, is this a pattern? Don't try to let it go. That is a good opportunity to recognize. Now that we understand how this patterning is becoming that karmic bond, you have to ask, something is repeating again and again for you, just take a pause, ask, is this a pattern? Before reacting to that particular pattern, if you recognize it's a pattern, take a pause, take a breath, just observe. And in your journals, write it down. What did I react unconsciously? Where and when I reacted unconsciously today? Keep yourself very aware of the situations, of the activities that are happening in your day schedule. This is not a rocket science, my dear masters. This is the most simplistic thing to do. If you just practice these routines, what we are talking here, you will be aware. There is no way you cannot be. That's why there is no requirement that you have to be an advanced meditator, you have to bring this, you have to bring this. Workshop does not need anything. All we need is your commitment and a sincere and serious dedication to make yourself a better version of you. Right? And then I also want to give you a few tips, right? Always be non-judgmental. Don't try to bring your mind and try to create a drama. Don't try to avoid good karma, bad karma, all that languages. Let's not go into all that. That is not the purpose, right? Don't try to bring your guilt into the factor and say, okay, I've got this shame going on, I've got this guilt, I should have done this separately. Done, whatever done is done. Now we are in the present moment. Let's try to work, right? Emphasize yourself and start to allow that emotional release. Allow it to happen. When you respond, when you accept, and when you are aware, things will happen. Don't try to bring a lot of those factors into the mix and then complicate this karmic discussion to a point where it becomes impossible for you to even recognize it. You put too many variables in it, you are lost in your own variables. You don't know where to start, where to go. Right? Just look at the pattern, ask the question if this is a repeated pattern. If you feel it is a repeated pattern, just pause it, breathe it, and observe it and say, okay, what is my new response? As simple as that. Don't try to fight it either. You try to fight it, you will strengthen it big time. Right? So I wanted to give you this opportunity, right? So the discussion that we had today is about how do I identify my repeating life patterns, understanding the karmic aspect as to how karma is getting created with unconscious cycles. We have experienced what non-reaction looks like. In a responsive way, if I do this, how does it look like? And we learn how to break that pattern consciously with a beautiful response, right? And when you do that, you will automatically feel empowered. You will automatically feel responsible that, hey, this is no longer something that I need to carry. I'm done with it. And the one that we need to remember is we are not bound by karma. We are not bound by karma. We are bound by unconsciousness. And awareness is a way of liberation. Awareness is a way of liberation. So that's why trying to practice awareness is a beautiful way. It is going to relieve us from so many things on its own. Just being in that state of awareness itself is a beautiful thing, you know. Practice, 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 practice. That's it. I'm sorry I took a little longer, but we'll have Q&A now, right? Sure. Savita madam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anil Garu. Like it was such a beautiful and you very well articulated about the karma and how to break the chain of patterns of by reacting, by responding, and not by reacting. That's really awesome. So yeah, so masters, whoever have the question, please raise your hand. So let's take a couple of questions. So here in the chat, Srikant Garu has a question, sir. Like, you mean awareness of what's happening? He's asking.
Awareness of what's happening. What is that though?
Whatever is happening in that present moment.
Yes, yes. The awareness is, yes, coming into the moment, present moment. That's what the awareness is. Whatever may be happening to you in that very moment, if you are aware of it, that is awareness. And if you are able to bring your attention to your breath, you will be in that awareness as well.
I think if we follow just 2 to 3 days of our conversation, 95% of our lives will be made easy. Anil, very well said. Rajni ma'am has a question here. So let's unmute her.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, namaste, masters.
Namaste,
yeah,
ma'am.
I have a quick question that, yeah, as per yesterday's and day before yesterday's one, I was using the awareness. The problem is I'm getting little negative thoughts. So I was using the awareness concept. Whenever I get the negative thought, I was just trying to observe it and it is dissolving. Full yesterday I tried it, but today from mid afternoon again I'm able to do it, but feeling little bit fearful. Maybe it needs a kind of practice, or if the question is, if I, as I already tried to break the pattern, why is it coming again, or do I need to practice more, or is there any other tip for it?
See, madam, what happens is you did one time, the pattern has not dissolved yet.
Okay.
Pattern has weakened by you doing it. See, the strength of the pattern is how it depends, right? How it gonna dissolve, right? If it is in a very lighter state, then 1 or 2 times you are aware of it, then you have weakened it, then it cannot have strength to come back.
Okay,
But
so it will take some time to practice.
Exactly.
And okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
But remember, every time you come into that state of awareness, you are weakening that karmic aspect.
Okay.
You are weakening it. It is.
So
You will
that's the
see
only way for breaking any kind of repetitive pattern.
Yeah, but like I said, right, awareness is one thing, and you responding. Instead of reacting, you responding to it and accepting it. You should also
Responding,
accept.
yeah, responding meaning what exactly, master?
Like, for example, you get a fear of something, saying that, okay, I cannot go into that room, right? Then you telling yourself that instead of, hey, don't drag me into the room, or don't, push me into the room and all that, you said, okay, it is okay, I'm not gonna outwardly react it. I'm just gonna calmly relax and said, okay, it is okay. If I go to the room, if I don't go to the room. So telling yourself and trying to be in
positive
that calm,
response
in
instead
the
of getting
calmer
fear.
state.
Okay.
So those things will also help you, right? So whatever works, just remember that whenever you bring them, you are weakening that aspect of karma.
Okay, but it will take some time to completely dissolve and come out of it.
Yes, yes, it will.
Okay.
Because it has
Actually,
to test you, the karma is teaching you a lesson, and your acceptance has to be sincere, right? Your response has to be sincere. It is not like, yeah, I just did one time, I just became aware that this is happening to me. Then where is learning?
Okay.
When you do it couple of times is where you start to accept and say, okay, there is learning here. I should not never react it. Then what
Yeah.
happens next time that thing comes to you, there is nothing for you. You just
Yeah.
pass.
Okay. So we have to get to that state where we will take that easily and with awareness. Okay. Thank you,
You will be
Master.
tested. Please remember, you will be tested.
Yeah, actually, from past 2-3 months, I was going into some kind of anxiety, fear issues.
Mhm.
So I face it some. So I'm just thinking that with awareness, I'm getting out of it. But when I'm trying it again, I'm feeling little bit fearful because I don't want that to happen because that may come again. So that kind of fear is there in my brain. So that's making me little bit challenging. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So see, that is another thing, right? The fear of you getting out. That's what I was talking about, right? Your familiar pain is better than unfamiliar peace.
Yes, that's what I connected
That's
for
what
the
you're.
brain. Brain will be used for the familiar
Correct.
pain than the unfamiliar piece. So that will also take time to come out of it. Yeah, got it, Master. Yeah.
Thank you, Rajni ma'am.
Yeah,
So
thank you so
Navya
much.
Master has a question. Let me unmute her. Yeah, please go ahead, Navya.
Yeah. Hi, Master Anil Garu. So if as you're saying, if the pattern is keep repeating, right? You're telling to be in aware and to be not to be, to be responsive in a calm way and all that. But like in the family itself, this person is trying to be rigid to you because for you to break those patterns, is it fine to be not responsive to that? When they are very rigid for you to break the pattern.
What do you mean? Is it a karma? Is it karma related, or is it a pattern? What is this? See, the pattern is something that you are seeing it as a repetitive thing coming your way.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you may be looking at it, and somebody from your family or someone else looking at it may be totally different, right? There is a perception also, right? In your perception, this is a pattern. In others' perception, this may not even be a pattern or issue at all. So, in your viewpoint, if you are seeing that, okay, this has become a pattern and this is bothering me and I want to break it, right? That's when you start to accept, respond, and aware, right?
Yeah.
So, one of these three things will work, but if you do all three things is a beautiful thing, right? If you're saying that, okay, if it's creating a conflict between the parties, you have to start to realize that, okay, this situation is creating the conflict. Why don't I accept it and see? Why don't I respond instead of reacting to this discussion? Why don't I become aware so that I become the observer of it, so that I can dissolve this with my energies rather than trying to increase the conflict?
Okay.
Right? So you have to start to recognize that, okay, this is something that I need to close it, and then you start using one of these things to be able to bring it out of it.
What if the other person also has some other pattern where I am trying, but the person doesn't change that?
The other person doesn't come into picture at all.
Okay, it's just
It is
I need to
yours.
be aware of just my things and then just dissolve it.
Exactly. It is your thing, right? So you need to start to look at it from your perspective and recognize if you want to come out of it or you want to, stick into it.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Anil.
Yeah, we have a question in the chat. I think Shrikant Garu, you got your answer since Anil Garu already explained like a couple of times. So yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions, masters? Looks like we have no questions, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we can start the meditation.
Someone raised a hand.
Yeah, I think Purnima.
Oh, Purnima, let me unmute her. Yeah, please go ahead, Purnima.
Sorry for the last minute. One more last question. So, Anil Garu, so I mean, I don't know how to aware or how to observe the situation when I get the anxiety because I was new couple of months back. What I did is whenever I get the anxiety, I used to start meditate immediately and 10 minutes, 15 minutes or half an hour calm down and then that anxiety goes away. I don't know how to aware that moment. Now I got the experience, I'm learning. So that's how I overcome my anxiety last couple of months. Is it the true? I mean, is it the correct way I did what I did?
Exactly. That is exactly. See, coming into the present moment, if you are in the present moment, then you are in the awareness. Present moment is nothing but awareness, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Past and future is mind.
Yes.
Whenever you are in the awareness, your mind cannot exist there. When your mind is existing, awareness cannot be there, because awareness is only flowing in the present moment. So the moment you start to observe your breath, you are in the present moment. So that's the answer. You don't even have to close your eyes. You just become conscious of your breath and observe your breath. That itself will bring you into the awareness.
Okay. Thank you. Got it.
Thank you, Master. And Gayatri Gaur has one question. Let me unmute her. I think this is the last question, Master. Please go ahead, Gayatri Gaur.
So if the other person is very stubborn, it is my craving that I am looking for the other person to change. So I have to dissolve it from my end, not from the other person.
Yes, madam. You feeling that you are going to change other person is the greatest illusion of life.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Masters. So let's start the meditation, Algar. It's 9:08.
Yeah. All right. Please sit very comfortably, masters. Bring your attention to your normal, natural breath. Take off your glasses, please. Just be aware. Slowly bring your attention to your normal, natural breath. As you're bringing your attention to your normal, natural breath, just feel the body is relaxed. Your mind is empty. Just relax. I do nothing. I want nothing. And I am nothing. Let it go. Whatever it is, let it go. Your role, your states, your recognition, your identity, your label, whatever it is, just let it go. Whatever may be your mental state right now, just let it go. Just be in that state of being, awareness. Close your eyes. Just observe your normal, natural, soft, tender, beautiful, wonderful breath, my dear masters. Observation is key, masters. Be with your breath. Be with your breath. Be with your breath.